What?
Guess who's back?
What do you want? Why are you looking at me?
He's probably looking at the balloons and the hanging.
I chipped my toenail. No, he's looking at me.
Did you say you licked your toenail?
I chipped it.
Oh, it's like
yes.
When?
I just now. It was. It's okay.
Yep, it's fine. It's fine.
That's just my Discord.
You're so cool.
I know.
I just tend to ignore that.
I
deleted it.
Did you?
It got really annoying.
Oh, joining your husband's.
Yeah, we never played anything because Josh didn't want to. So I was just like.
So you never played Dungeons and
if you guys are listening, I'm sorry, it's not my fault.
Was it Dungeons and Dragons?
Yeah. I made a character and everything.
Yeah, and what were you gonna name it? Like,
I don't know, but it had like irritable bowel syndrome or something.
Yeah, for your superpower.
No, is my weakness.
Oh, your weakness.
Burritos.
Could you imagine having that as your superpower?
I have irritable bowel syndrome. I will poop on you. Obvious? Yes.
IBS? Or super
IBS.
IBS.
This is our podcast, What's with the Neighbors, and that's Amy.
That is Brie.
And we are a true crime and paranormal podcast. If you haven't found out by now, this is episode 70.
Yeah, this is very awkward if you don't know that. They're like, I'm still waiting to figure out what this podcast is about.
Let's listen backwards. Okay, so if you're listening backwards, which to me is weird because I like to know like all the story. It's like, what if I had a baby, or what if we got married or something? Not to each other.
I agree with you on that situation, but then I also tell people that they should listen to the newest episodes first because our first episodes are so bad.
But I have also come to an understanding that everybody's podcasts suck in the beginning,
except for Smartless,
because they're freaking celebrities and they know
they already have the equipment
people.
And they have people.
Yeah. We're celebrities now, but we were not celebrities when we started. So, we're just,
Exactly. Well, Brie, I guess we're looking at each other
can't see your face today again. Guys, it was just Amy's birthday. So, again, if you want to get on Facebook and wish Amy a happy birthday, it was just Amy's birthday. She gets upset when I tell people. So
no, thank you. I need someone to celebrate my birthday.
It was so exciting.
Okay. I have a few things to say, but the first thing is this episode is dedicated to our newest Patreon donor, Julie. Julie. And she is a next door neighbor, our highest tier.
She's like, yeah, I'm going to get off the donor bus now.
But you know what's funny is she subscribed like minutes after we were done recording last week. So we couldn't give her a shout out last week.
I know. I was thinking about that too.
Yeah. So she's been a donor for a whole week already.
Yeah. And she hasn't unsubscribed yet. So
yeah,
we must not be that terrible.
Yeah. She sounds amazing.
And also, come on, join the flippin' donor bus, guys. We have so many things that we actually want to do. Like, we have so many more things that we want to do on Patreon right now. Like, we want a group, that way we can do things with you guys virtually.
Well, and okay, so we talk about exclusive content and unedited video episodes, blah blah blah. But did you know that last summer we did a paint night?
Yeah.
And we gave a free ticket to the paint night to one of our Patreon donors.
Sure did. And it was a blast.
Yeah. So you can, get those sort of things. You get a free magnet. We do extra episodes occasionally for it. And,
that was so weird.
What?
Something just fell from the ceiling onto my mic.
Oh, was it a spider?
I don't. No, spiders aren't alive right now. They're
alive somewhere. They don't die.
In Alaska.
Okay, well then, okay. Brie, I have questions for you. I really wish I could see, though.
Do you see any spiders in your house this time of year?
No, but they're somewhere because they can't just all die. How would they come?
They're hibernating.
Yes, in the ground or something.
I don't really know.
I
Guys,
don't
if you
either.
know what happens to spiders in the wintertime, let us know.
Okay, so
Anyway, sorry.
do you have you never asked the question in Facebook. That comes
I was
out
going to post
that comes out Monday,
yeah,
huh?
yeah.
Okay, never
Yeah.
mind.
I was going to post on Monday.
I was like, you failed, buddy.
Bam.
You didn't. But do you have a question
For
Facebook?
You ask yours first. I still got to settle on which one I'm going to ask.
I have 2 questions.
Oh, do you have this question for Facebook too?
We can do that, but I wanted to ask you 2 questions because I couldn't pick.
Okay.
So, do you want to do the question for Facebook?
To Facebook. Do you eat or do you drink soup?
That is so funny that you picked that one. I almost picked that one. Bree, what do you do?
I mean, I eat it and then like does that mean like do you slurp it with your spoon or does that mean do you pick the bowl up, like drink it? Cuz like I chew my coffee. Isn't that weird? Like I like taste it and like swish it through my mouth.
Like
And
how you
I
have
legit
to, like
chew.
how you have to chew wine.
No, I don't know. I don't chew my wine.
Oh, I
but
thought
I
you were supposed to do
legit
that.
chew my coffee.
It's very
Like my
weird.
old, I used to have
You
an
know,
old
I've heard
coworker
of,
that
like-
would always laugh at me every time I would drink coffee because I always chew my coffee.
I've heard of like sludgy coffee, but like
No, it's
not
not
s-
sludgy at all. It's just like I like to process the taste, and I think I'm just like swishing it through my mouth and like
that's freaking weird. Dude.
I don't know, but I kind of do that with soup too. But once it gets down to like that bottom like little
The broth.
bit, yeah, just the teeny tiny little bit, then I drink it or I dip a breadstick in it if I have a breadstick.
So I took that question a little bit differently, in the sense of like.
I have a swirly straw.
Yes. In the sense like do you chew ice cream? Do you bite ice cream or do you just slurp it? And like the my thought was like it's still in a spoon. Are you eating it or are you still drinking it but it's from a spoon?
Right. Yeah, I know. That was what I was wondering about the question too.
Okay.
I mean, I'm the one who asked it, but like I think it means like do you drink it from the flippin' bowl or do
Okay.
you eat it?
Okay, so if that's gonna
Like
be
in like in Beauty and the Beast,
Yes.
where she just like tipped the bowl and she's like, "Oh, eat it like douche."
yeah, so if that's how we're going to take it then.
I guess, yeah.
My answer
I just want to know how
is-
everybody eats soup.
I think I just slurp it from
Your
the
spoon.
spoon.
Funny you mentioned ice cream. I pour milk into mine and make it a soup.
That's right. You're so
And I like it.
freaking
I like it like a
weird.
milkshake. And then my old stepmom taught me that. It's good stuff. Makes
I
it
would
way
always
better.
just let it melt a whole bunch
I love
and
it.
then do that.
It's so much better with milk. It's so creamy.
It's already creamy. It's ice cream.
It's so much more creamier. I would like ice cream with extra cream, please.
She's a crazy person. She's a
Alright.
crazy person.
I
Okay,
am.
so we're gonna ask you that Facebook. Let us know what your answers are in
Yes.
our Facebook group, which is WWTN Podcast.
Yes, we will be asking for
No, it's
answers
not. It's What's with the Neighbors
on Monday.
on Facebook. What's with the Neighbors Facebook group.
Yes. Join it.
Join it. So I have 2 questions for you, Brie. And this one, I had a really good answer for it earlier today because I thought about it earlier and then I forgot. So, what is the worst name you can name your kid?
Oh
I know. I should have not. This one is a hard one.
man. No, I know my answer, but I feel terrible for my answer.
Is it appropriate?
No, it's appropriate. It's just
Is it one of your kids' names?
it's
It's Natalie.
I guess any kind of I don't want to say old lady name, but a really outdated name that's usually associated with older women.
Oh, okay.
Like
Alice.
no.
Alice?
That's different. Like it's
Oh,
just
because you know
different.
an Alice.
It doesn't sound like a lady who talks
Is it
like
Doris?
this. Like Doris or Martha or Irene. My grandma doesn't listen to this, and I hope, Grandma, if you ever listen
Arlene.
to this,
That's my grandma's name.
my grandma's name is Irene.
Oh my
Yeah,
gosh.
Grandma, if you ever listen to this, I apologize. But yeah, I would make it into a middle name, but it just sounds like maybe it's because I associate that name with my grandma, but I feel like I'd be talking to a 70-year-old child. Come here, Irene.
So, I there's definitely a lot of older or worse answers than what you just shared, but it's funny because as you were talking, it reminded me of what my answer was. I was talking to a coworker today, and we were talking about her son's one of his classmates, and how the classmate is a brat, and she's like, "Well, what's her name?" And he replied, "Betty," and I was like, I would also be a brat if I am like 7 and my name is Betty.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's like, also, you can't like look at a baby. Come here, Betty.
Yeah. So, go ahead.
No, you're fine.
Another kind of funny story that when I worked at the doctor's office, I was talking to one of our IT tech guys, and I was talking about like terrible names because I was pregnant with Alice. I was talking about terrible names to name your kid, and I was talking about like naming your kid an old kid name, and I was like William or George.
Yeah,
you know?
exactly.
And he was like, "My son's name is George," and I was like, "Cool, cool."
I mean, you can call him Georgie whenever he's a baby.
Yeah,
but also
George.
But when I think of Georgie, I think of the movie It. Hi, Georgie.
Or
Gross.
Georgina.
Georgina.
Yeah.
Georgina. You also probably feel this way, but working in a daycare for however long.
Yeah.
There were also specific kids with the same name, and I swear to God, it was like this
Parker.
Yeah. Yep. There were kids with the same name that were always poorly behaved, and I think Gabriel was one.
That was gonna be Alice's name if she was a boy.
Gabriel.
Yeah.
I think that's a cute name.
I like
but
Gabe,
at the same
though.
time, like I knew a lot of really bad Gabriels.
Yeah.
Sorry if your name's Gabriel.
I just really I loved the name Wyatt, but
I love that too.
But Wyatt Westmoreland, and then Wesley. I love Wesley.
Oh, that's so cute.
But we have a terrible last name for that. Wesley Westmoreland.
I mean, it's still fine.
That's mean.
That sounds like a presidential name, dude.
Wesley Westmoreland.
It's like we used to know we know a John Johnson, and he totally could run for president. He's super cool. He could run for president. He doesn't listen to us.
Okay, I have another question for you.
Okay, sorry.
No, you're good. I'm trying to keep us on track this week. So, what is the most useless skill you possess?
Oh man, I can pick things up with my toes.
I think everyone can do that.
With my toes.
Yeah.
Turn off lights. Like, Josh gets super weirded out and grossed out when I try to do it.
Why?
Because he hates my feet.
Oh my gosh.
I know. I've never had issues with my feet.
That's so mean.
I know.
That's... Oh, I'm sorry. I love your feet. I would hold your hand. I would hold your feet toes. You hold your feet toes? Hold your toes.
I got it. What about you?
I
knew that. I knew you were gonna freaking do that. We just brought that back. Yeah.
I also can fold my tongue in half. It looks like it's praying. Yeah, you're doing it. Good job. A lot of people can do it though. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's a genetic thing.
Oh, it is. That's weird.
I
can't cross my eyes.
Someone in your family can do it. Really?
Nope.
I got Charlotte. Charlotte knows how to cross her eyes now. She knows how to roll them too.
Oh, right. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
All right. Last question. Amy. Where's it at? Oh. Have you what's a song that you pretend to like, but it's embarrassing that you enjoy it?
I pretend,
or that you pretend that you don't like, but it's embarrassing that you actually enjoy it.
Oh man, so many. Any of the Nickelback songs.
Taylor Swift.
Yeah, Taylor Swift. Except for I don't like the "It's me, hi, I'm the
But you
problem, it's me.
do you not catch yourself singing it?
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
1000%. But I don't. I
dang it.
generally do not like that song. It's annoying. Like, I had a dream that my daughter-in-law hates me and killed me or something like that, and I hated it. And I didn't put her in the wheel, and everyone's like, she's laughing from us from up above. And it's like, stupid.
Thank you for that. I appreciate you.
It's dumb.
My answer would be anything Taylor Swift.
Yeah, anything Taylor Swift, yeah.
Ugh.
All right, do you have a story for me? Oh, no, I have a neighborhood story for
Okay.
you. Okay. So this is from next door, and it says, somebody help with the prayer hands. Yesterday, I decided to change my Wi-Fi name to Hack Me If You Can. And I woke up this morning, I saw the name changed. I saw the name changed to Challenged Accepted. Wah, wah.
Bet.
Bet. That
It's
sucks.
probably someone in the house.
Probably.
Or someone. Everybody's a hacker. All right. I've got one from the book for you this week.
Yay.
I'm going to cover Alaska.
No
I'm doing
way.
the Red Onion Saloon in Skagway, Alaska.
I wish we could go there.
I do too. It sounds really neat.
My parents have been there.
Really?
On a cruise.
Oh yeah, that makes sense because they talked about cruises coming in.
They do.
God, that light is so bright. Okay.
Do you want to turn it off?
No, it's okay. It's fine. I like
Makes
being
your
blind.
face look really good.
I know, right? Sorry, it was really conceited. Anyway,
It looks good. You should be conceited. You're beautiful.
easy breezy.
Beautiful.
So, the Red Onion was built in 1897 during the Klondike Gold Rush. In 1898, the saloon served as a saloon, a casino, and a brothel, of course, where there were 10 small rooms upstairs where women would serve the lonely miners after a hard, long workday. The rooms were called cribs. They were small, and in each they had several ways to make a quick and easy exit if it was necessary.
Why?
I'm not in case maybe someone got handsy or in case you were
Oh, like the women could leave?
yes.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And I think the men could too, but yeah. So there were 10 sex workers. They were all treated well from what I've read. They were all pretty well respected, and they worked 12-hour shifts. Each got...
That's such a long shift.
I know. Each client would get 15 minutes, meaning that the sex workers could have up to 48 clients a day.
Oh my gosh, Brie.
Yeah, that's a lot.
That is so many.
I know. So much unprotected sex.
So many STDs.
It was a $5 fee to spend time with one of the girls, and they kept only $1.25. 50% of it went to the madam, and 25% went to the security, which is why they were pretty well protected. So,
Okay, also though, that sucks.
I'm wondering if they got tips too.
I hope so.
I would hope that they would have gotten tips.
Men are also pigs though,
$5,
so
but also it's in the late 1800s/1900s. All right, to show which of the ladies were available, each of them had a doll that resembled them that were kind of out in the lobby area.
Oh, that's kind of cool.
And if a doll was sitting upright, it meant that she was available, and if a doll was laying down, it meant that she was busy or just unavailable.
Okay.
By 1900, the Gold Rush moved on to another town in Nome, Alaska, and the Red Onion Saloon became a dance hall. And after a dance with a lady, the client would go upstairs for, and I quote from the site, a roll in the hay.
Oh.
So basically it was still a brothel.
Okay.
They called it a dance hall, but it was a brothel still. But it only went on for a couple more years. In 1914, the Red Onion was put on rolling logs, which I thought was super cool, and moved to another location.
Love it.
Yeah. Its current location, and it's closer to the railroad station, which brings in more customers.
Makes sense.
Since then, it's been used as a pharmacy, telegraph and TV station, a bakery, a gift shop, and a World War II Army barracks. Then in 1980, a Jen Rentmore purchased the building and got a liquor license, and the Red Onion Saloon was reborn.
Was it always called the Red Onion?
Yeah.
Okay.
The Red Onion Saloon was reborn. So she renovated and restored it, brought it up to code, and to do so, I guess the pipes were like a fire hazard because they were copper pipes, I think.
They're not clay. I'm sorry. I can't get over that.
I told Josh that, and he was like, "What?" So we're not crazy for thinking that's crazy. So I guess they were a fire hazard. So they ripped out all the pipes, which means they had to rip out the flooring. And whenever they did that, they found a bunch of like random like trinkets of what they believe were the belongings of the ladies, and they would hide them in there.
Oh,
so they found like a bunch of stuff from the previous women.
I love that.
I thought that was really cool, and I'm wondering if they use them as like little like knickknacks that go around the place.
I hope
I'm sure
so.
they do. So yeah, the Red Onion Saloon and Restaurant was officially open for business again, and still is. So, tragedy. There's some tragedy that happened there. Not much, but
hold on. Stop for a second. Parents, if you're listening to me, did you guys go to the Red Onion when you stopped in Skagway? No. Was it Skagway? Is it Skagway? Or Ketchikan?
Okay. No, Skagway.
Did you guys go? Probably not. But if you did, I want to know. Okay, go ahead.
Yes, we do. Mom and Dad. I love how you call them parents, and I just call them Mom and Dad. So, the Red Onion Saloon surprisingly wasn't too tragic. Like I said, and the women were all pretty well protected and treated well.
Yeah,
However,
love that.
Working as a sex worker does come with some risks.
Yeah.
Becoming pregnant, contracting STDs, falling in love and having your heart broken and
That
going
is-
into depression.
Yeah.
That kind of stuff happens. One of these sex workers named Lydia, who had planned to make some quick money there and just leave Skagway, she unfortunately contracted a serious STD. And when it became known that she had it, she hung herself in her crib. And she blamed all the men for giving it to her.
I wonder what what it was.
I don't know. Probably.
I mean, most of them are treatable.
I mean, not AIDS.
No.
But I don't know if that was a known one in the
I don't think it was. But also, maybe, like, some of them, back like syphilis, like, maybe they didn't have.
Yeah, that's true.
Like, back then, I don't know. I'd have
Yeah.
to listen to this podcast. Can kill you. This podcast will kill you to find out. Because I don't want to Google it.
What's that one about?
It covers all, like, diseases.
Oh, that's cool.
Mm-hmm.
That sounds. I want to listen to that.
They sound really. They talk about really cool stuff.
That's cool.
They talk about like how it came about, and then like the outbreaks and stuff, and like people dying. It's really cool. I love it.
Neat.
Yeah,
Sounds
it's called
interesting.
This Podcast Will Kill You.
That's cool.
Yeah, I like it.
Cool.
Sorry.
No, that's good. This podcast will kill you.
Yeah.
Okay. So let's move on to the paranormal. There are 3 entities that people believe, or that are believed to reside here. 2 women, Lydia and a Diamond Lil, who was madam there.
Okay.
And a male who's possibly angry and malevolent, but many believe that he's one of the bouncers still being protective.
Oh.
I know. And he's like super hostile towards men. So the male has been known to brush roughly past employees and guests and move certain objects that the staff just so happens to need to like do their jobs. Like,
that's annoying.
He'll take people's keys or nice like drinks that they'll make for customers and just like put them in random places. Like that would be me. I would do that.
Can you imagine like going to grab like the tongs and they're like they quickly move and you're like, gosh dang it, and then you're like, oh gosh dang it.
Just put them like in a litter box or something. Why would there be a litter box there, Brie? There wouldn't be. But if I lived in someone's house and I was a ghost, I'd totally be putting stuff inside the litter box.
I would just let them almost grab it and then move it.
Gotcha. Yeah. All right. Believed to be the bouncer, on one occasion, 2 men were doing maintenance on the 2nd floor and were pushed down a flight of stairs by a strong unseen force. A local claimed to have felt a strong presence in a hostile mood on the 2nd floor, also believed to be the bouncer. And evidently, they believe that whatever it is doesn't like powerful men.
Oh,
Same.
like
Political.
political men.
Yeah.
I may wonder if
People
maybe
in
they
high
didn't
power.
tip as well or something like that.
They're probably jerks.
Well, yeah. I mean that, but like,
Yeah. They're
and
rich and they're like very stingy.
yeah.
Yeah.
And so like back then, if there was someone that was powerful, they came in like, no, I paid you the $5. That's all you're getting.
Right. Hey, that's how they're rich.
Yeah. Yeah, I
And
know.
also jerks.
Yeah. That's
All
why
right.
I'm poor, because I give away my money.
Dang it, I'm freaking
It's
nice.
so nice.
A Diamond Lil, a former madam here, makes herself known to male guests, feeling them up on their legs and whispering softly, like, I love you is in your ears. She doesn't say I love you, but she
Sweet
whispers,
little
you know.
nothings.
Yeah, sweet little nothings. Hi. I'm a ghost.
I love your hair. You smell good.
A musician who used to live there on the second floor in the madam's room was woken up one night to seeing a shimmering light in the bedroom, followed by a sensual sensation given to him by an unseen force in the bed.
Oh, whoa.
I know. Whoa. You having a good old time.
He's like telling his wife, I swear, I don't know what it was.
He started paying to live there. Someone has been known to have a green thumb here and water the plants upstairs.
Oh my gosh, I love that.
Yeah, like
Can
they'll
water my
find like the plants all wet and stuff. They've been watered, and
That
in
is
one
so
instance,
crazy.
they saw a shadowy form of a woman doing this in the madam's room. Lydia has been seen wearing a long dark dress, being hostile towards men.
Oh my gosh.
Footsteps are often heard upstairs when no one is there. This had happened once to an employee, and it scared them so bad they called the police,
Oh
claimed
my
they heard
gosh.
someone running and pounding on the second floor. And when they went to investigate, a shadow was seen running down the hall into the madam's room, but no one was there, and they believed that it could be like Lydia running to the madam for like protection.
Interesting.
The smell of lilac perfume is common and believed to be what Lydia would wear. The scent is so strong that you can smell it all along the second floor hall, as well as feel various cold spots.
Oh.
It's believed that Lydia still services male spirits and has even been known to touch a live man who used to stay in her room. So I guess someone else is getting touched.
Ooh.
Lydia is also believed to caress women's hair on tours, but men are fair game, and she tends to play tricks on them.
Love it.
Sometimes she's nice, sometimes she's not.
Yeah.
And lastly, the face of a male spirit, which some believe it was like a client, has been seen in the madam's mirror, in like her bedroom mirror.
Uh-huh. I don't like that.
You know, it's like, whoa, whoa. So as of today, the Red Onion Saloon still remains open as a restaurant, bar, and museum. You can step back into time ordering some Hustler's hummus or enjoy some of their cleverly named pizzas, including Madame Jan, Lady Lavoie, Shady Lady, The Sassy Potter, Bombay Peggy, and Big Desi.
Big Desi.
The ghost hunters, as well as other ghost enthusiasts, have investigated the saloon and believe that it is still haunted. The upstairs rooms have been restored into their old cribs, which you can check out just for a quickie, which is actually what they call it, and it's only a $10 tour.
Oh, I love that.
It's called the quickie.
As it should.
Yeah, like it's on their menu. I was like, because I was looking at their food menu and I saw that in the bottom. I was like, oh shit, that's so cool.
Very clever.
But that is the Red Onion Saloon in Skagway, Alaska.
Brie,
You're welcome,
we need to go
Alaska.
there.
I know I want to. Where's Skagway?
It's like way.
Do you have to fly there?
Yeah, you can't drive.
You can't. Yeah, I figured.
I believe it's super far down there. It's like on the little tail. Yeah. If I'm correct. Or it's down by Juneau. Like down there on one of the islands or something like that. Don't ask me. I don't know Alaska. I just live
State's
here.
huge, guys.
It's really big. I'm kind of excited to use my book that you got me, but the calendar that you got me, Brie, I look forward to turning the page
Oh,
every day.
yay. Yay.
So, was it like the last 2 days? It wasn't today. Today was a new one. No, today was the last day of it. There was like 2 days of it where there was like a boy that like was persuaded for some reason to go out into the woods to this guy, and he's like, I need help getting something out of this deer box. And so I guess like back in the day they used to like bury deer boxes, like these boxes, into the ground, and that's where you would hide to shoot deer, like
Okay.
instead of a tree.
Right.
And so the boy's like, okay, I'll go help you, kind of like help me find my dog. And he went in there, and the guy trapped him in the deer box. And then today was the day where I got to hear the rest of this, or read the rest of the story, because they're just short stories.
Tidbits, yeah.
And like this guy was hunting, and this kid was like, help, help. Like he heard this guy like walking by, and so he's like, help, help, help. And the guy opened up the deer box, and he was like, demanding him, like, you know, who are you? Show me your hands, like thinking that the kid was going to trap him. And the kid's like, no, I've been trapped. And
my
so
gosh.
he helped him out and stuff. Isn't that
Jeez.
crazy?
Did
Yeah.
no one died?
No.
That's good.
Yeah, there. I really like it because it's not all just murder. There's been a couple already this month that are just murder. Anyways, so I'm going to tell you about Rod Farrell. Okay?
Okay.
So, okay. So, Rod Farrell was born on March 28th, 1980, to the parents of Sandra Gibson and Rick Farrell in Murray, Kentucky.
Yeah. That's where bourbon's made.
Oh, cool. Okay. In Murray, Kentucky?
Just Kentucky.
Oh, just Kentucky. I was like,
Kentucky whiskey.
well.
Yummy.
Oh, that makes sense. Yeah, I've seen that before. After Rod was born, within like a few weeks, Rick, the dad, was like, ew, this life sucks, and dipped out and joined the military, which that life must have sucked for him too.
Yeah, right?
Leaving one sucky life to the other.
You lose and you lose some.
So Sandra was a teenage mom with a baby, so she moved in with her parents. Sandra often took advantage of living with her parents and would leave Rod with them so she could go out and party. And she would also make money as a sex worker.
Okay.
As Rod got older, his mom started dressing like him. They also connected on a game called Dungeons and Dragons.
Oh, okay. That's weird.
It was funny that you mentioned that, yeah. And Rod started reading the books by Anne Rice, the Vampire Chronicles series.
Oh,
which is like a super popular series in the 80s and 90s.
Wait, what was the series called?
The Vampire Chronicles series.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
They both wore dark clothes, black pants, trench coats, choke collars, you know, the whole works of a vampire goth person. And they
Twilight.
would yeah. They would often hold hands even when Rod was a teenager, and he would still hold his mom's hand, and the neighbors were like, "Are they a couple?"
Yeah.
It was
like,
super
what's going on
cringy.
there?
Yeah. Sandra was not good at being a parent. She would let Rod come and go as he pleased. He would like hang out at the Hardee's, also known as Carl's Jr., depending on where you're at.
Hardee's is better. Sorry.
It's the same freaking thing.
It is.
Or the cemetery, wherever, you know, at all hours of the night, regardless if it was a school night or not. He would just do whatever he wanted. He also would test his teachers and the admin at the school often, like light up a cigarette in the middle of the courtyard. He didn't care about getting in trouble.
Ballsy.
Huh?
Ballsy.
Yeah. If he went to class, he would give the teacher trouble there in the classroom. After a while, Rod started playing a different game, which was a fantasy role-playing game called Vampire the Masquerade. I have no idea what that game is, but
sounds super hot.
Sounds cool. So in school, Rod was sort of collecting these friends. One of them was Scott Anderson. And Scott and Rod instantly clicked. Scott was dealt an awful hand growing up. He grew up in a terrible rundown trailer park with black trash bags over the windows for curtains. His dad was an alcoholic and a drug addict. He just was dealt an awful hand. Similar to Rod, but Rod at least had his grandparents.
Right.
Scott worked at McDonald's and would often bring home leftovers for him and his brothers so that they had something to eat at least.
Yeah.
McDee's.
Gotta start somewhere.
Or Alice calls it McDoodles. Love it.
McNaldo's. That's what Josh calls it.
What does he call it?
McNaldo's. McNaldo's.
McNaldo's.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. He was also friends with Jaden Stephen Murphy. Jaden and Rod met close to the end of Jaden's junior year in Callaway High. Jaden and Ron clicked in the same sense. Their parents were not, fair to them growing up. And they both claimed that life can eat you up and spit you back out. And we just keep going.
Yeah.
So something about Rod. He claimed that he was a 500-year-old vampire. Named Vesigo.
Nice.
Which was also the character he would play during the role-playing game. He claimed he could fly, teleport, and time travel. But whenever anyone confronted him about it, he would be like, it's just not the right time. Or, I can't do it on command. He also talked like a very he's talked like Batman from Wishwood.
Batman.
You can't handle the power. I don't.
Who is it? Where is it?
Yeah. You can't handle the power of me.
So he did not go for the whole, Count Chocula, Count.
Nope.
Whatever it was.
No.
One bot. Two bots.
No, he definitely went for
I love vampire shit. I'm so excited for this episode.
He talked like, I can fly and teleport, but I can't even do it.
Give it to me.
Yes, thank you.
Where is it?
Yeah.
Who did it?
Who are you?
Where is he? I'm Batman.
Yes, thank you. I can't do it right now. I don't know why. But so he's like, you can't handle the power. And let's go. Sorry. That's why
I can't even get
yeah. Anyway, so we're moving on here. So Jaden was the one that introduced Rod to the theory of I was like
it's the voice.
I know. I'm sorry.
I'm not.
So Jaden was the one that introduced Rod to this whole vampirism and even converted him to being a vampire.
Oh, wow.
And
so he bit him.
They did a spiritual ritual at the cemetery. They both cut each other with straight razors and gave each other their blood and drank it.
Oh, that's normal.
So after Rod became a vampire, Rod recruited 3 others. So one was Scott, his friend. And then his on-again, off-again girlfriend, Charity Kesey, and another friend named Dana Cooper. So now they all have STDs. That's I can't even imagine.
Your blood is my blood. And your blood is my blood. Wait, no, that's
from
my
vein
blood.
to shining vein. So
no, that's my blood. Sorry. I can't. I'm so excited about this. I'm loving this story.
That's why I listened to so many podcasts because I was like, I have to get this story right.
I'm very excited.
So, I actually don't know if they had STDs, but I'm like 1,000% one way
Yeah,
is like
right.
the easiest way to share STDs.
Totally not safe.
Yeah. So Rod was running this new so-called family that he had created, and he was living large. Then suddenly Rod was told by his mom that they were moving to Eustis, Florida.
Oh no, there's so much sun there. What is he gonna do?
Oh no, not the sun.
Not the sun. Sorry.
Because that's where her new boyfriend lived, and he was not thrilled about this. So, Eustis in Lake County was located in Central Florida, or it is, it's still there. It's about 40 miles from Orlando.
Okay, okay.
Rod met a girl, Heather Windorf, in school. Heather was one of the two daughters of the Windorf family. The Windorfs were a great all-American family. They were super nice. The dad, Richard, had a nice job as a supervisor at a bottling company. The mom, Ruth, was a stay-at-home mom, but she would go and volunteer at the girls' high school. And Jennifer Windorf was 17 years old. She was pretty popular. She was a cheerleader. She was beautiful, but luckily she wasn't like a mean pretty. You know what I mean? Like when they're really pretty, they can just like be jerks.
Was she Buffy?
No way.
Oh.
She was a cheerleader.
Dang, that would be perfect.
Oh, Buffy the Vampire. Yeah. No. She was super pretty, and she wasn't a mean pretty. She was super down to earth, and the counselor at the school said that he had never heard a mean thing said about her, which I think is really cool.
Yeah, it's
So
not,
she probably dies.
What time?
I'm just kidding.
What year is it?
This is the 90s.
Yeah, that's hard to find in the 90s.
Yeah.
I feel like.
Yeah, so Heather, the younger daughter, was 15. She was a polar opposite of Jennifer when it came to what she was into and what she liked in her style. She liked darker clothes. If Hot Topic existed back then, maybe it did. She would definitely be a frequent flyer there. She loved like all things dark and dark music and the morbid side of things. Although what she was into was alternative, she was still a good kid. She was, had good grades and that sort of stuff. So the way Rod got Heather's attention at this new school, because they're both new. She's 15. She just recently started school and he just transferred there. She opened her locker door to find a Barbie hanging from a noose. And instead of like freaking out and turning it in and telling on somebody, she took it and hung it from her JanSport and just kept on going.
Yeah, get it. She's like, all right, that's fine.
This is cool.
Sick. Who made me this?
Yeah. Like so punk rock. So, they became instant friends. They would go out and spend the whole night at cemeteries talking and just hanging out. As soon as Rod was building roots in Eustis and making friends, his mom said it was time to move back to Murray, Kentucky because she broke up with her boyfriend.
Of course.
So Rod was furious. But to celebrate his last night in town, he had his friends over at his house. Rod was doing some weird chanting ritual thing, and some kids were copying him. He also had friends like sitting on his bed, like sucking each other's blood.
Oh.
Like some people suck each other's necks, and other people suck each other's blood.
It was kind of a thing whenever Twilight came out. I remember.
This was before Twilight.
I know, but it also became a thing when Twilight came out.
No way.
A little, yeah. Like I remember them
That's
making an announcement in
disgusting.
school about it.
Ew.
Yeah. Anyway, yeah.
One
weird.
of our Patreon donors was super into Twilight.
Me?
No. But I don't remember people doing that.
I love Twilight. I hate. That's one thing that I hate that I love. That I love. I love, but I
Oh,
hate
one of
that I
those
love
things
it.
that you pretend that you don't like, but you like it.
I don't pretend that I don't like it. I just hate that I like it. So
Oh,
never
yeah.
mind.
I like it. And, I mean, Alice likes it.
This is the first book series I've ever read.
Yeah, same. Yeah. Now that Alice is, like, that age, I can watch it shamelessly.
Yes.
Yeah. So, anyways, so his mom walked in, and this is, like, finally where she...
Oh my god, how weird.
But she was, like a cool mom. She didn't care what her son did, right? This is where she drew the line,
Yeah,
Brie.
right? Like...
She, like, flipped out and ordered everyone to leave. And Rod and her were, like, fighting and arguing, and he took a knife, held it to her throat, and said he could kill her. But then they, like, laughed it off.
They're like, you're so funny.
You're so funny. But then he,
Rod.
like, flipped around. Like, he's, like, walking away. Flips around and takes the knife and stabs it right next to her head. And it's, like, going, like, wobbling. And he's like, I would never kill you. And she's like, yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Totes. Totes my goats. And so then, like, the next day, they just, like, moved, and they acted like nothing happened.
Wow. Okay. That's cool.
Yeah, no big deal.
That's normal. That's fine.
It was reported that
He's just going through a phase.
Yeah. It was reported that they, like, would do this often. Like, they would have those type of fights often, but this was, like, the first actual, like, report of it. So I don't know if they were like, oh, yeah, we do it all the time.
It's so cute.
It's so cute how he's like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Then we
Rod...
go hold hands again.
And dress like each other. So Rod gained back his initial friends back in Murray, but they saw something different about him. He had a charisma.
In a
that...
tan.
Huh?
I'm sorry, I keep on interrupting you. I said in a tan.
In a tan?
Because he was in Florida.
No, he moved back. They moved back to Murray, Kentucky.
Oh, yeah, but they were in Florida, right?
They moved to Florida for a little bit until she
then-
broke up with her
And
boyfriend.
then they moved from Florida to back to Kentucky.
Yeah.
And they noticed something different about him.
Oh, yeah. Oh,
'Cause
his
he had a tan.
tan.
From Florida.
I thought you were saying ham.
No, tan. His ham.
Yeah, it was like, I don't get it.
Okay, I'm done interrupting.
But no,
Possibly.
tan. He probably did have a tan.
Yeah.
Although, he was, like, wearing super dark clothes and
Oh,
a trench
Makes
coat.
him look more white. Yeah, you're right.
Anyways,
Okay.
they were like, he has, like, more charisma about him, and he was more confident and bolder. He also didn't stop talking to Heather. He and Heather would spend hours on the phone, and this is, like, in the 90s before when long distance was a thing. And I looked it up. The average long distance rate went for about 15 cents a minute.
Jeez.
There were times that Rod and Heather's parents were getting almost $1,000 phone bills.
Oh my gosh.
So that didn't make their parents happy, which in return would upset Heather, and she would complain to Rod about it. Even if she was grounded from the phone, they still would talk by snail mail. She talked about how much she hated her parents for the rules that they set in place, and she was treated poorly. And at this time, Rod started to, like, really dabble in drugs, not just marijuana. He was dabbling in LSD, cocaine, meth, anything that he could get his
Heavy
hands on.
shit. Okay.
Yeah, and it would be like the second he would start coming down from something, he would take something else.
Like keep his high going.
Keep his high going, yeah. Letters were found where Heather was saying how awful her parents treated her, but no one can actually testify how awful her parents actually were. I will say, as a teenager, there was many times where I was like, my parents are so unfair. They suck. Blah,
right.
blah, blah.
Right.
But, like, as an adult, I'm like, oh, wow, I'm really glad
what
they
a
set those
brat.
boundaries for me.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I have to give a trigger warning
Uh-oh.
to everyone. So this involves some pet violence. So if you don't want to listen to it, fast forward like 30 seconds. So Jaden saw vampirism different. Jaden, one of his friends.
Okay.
He was a spiritual guidance. He saw it as like a spiritual guidance, and used it as good. He met with Rod at a mutual friend's house, and they went for a walk, just to chat. While they were walking, a cat walked up to them, and Rod picked up the cat by its neck and swung it at a tree.
Oh.
And the cat was convulsing on the ground, because it didn't die instantly. Jaden said, "What's wrong with you?" And Rod explained, "Oh, you and your holier-than-thou attitude." Like, what? About a week or so later, on October 14th, 1966, at the Callaway County Animal Shelter, an employee walked into work to find a field of over 40 dead dogs and dismembered puppies. And that all the evidence pointed back to Rod and his minions.
Where did you get them? Where did you get 40 puppies?
They broke into it.
Oh, to the animal shelter?
Into the animal shelter. And killed all the dogs.
Oh my god,
and dismembered the puppies.
Of garbage.
Yeah. Okay, so if you're skipping, you can come back now. Sorry, I just had to rush through that.
The water's warm now.
The water's warm, yeah. So November 14th, 1966, Rod was talking to his family, quote unquote, his vampire family, about how they need to save Heather from her super terrible parents who took her phone privileges away from her. So he outlined this plan that they were going to go pick Heather up and then head to New Orleans, where the vampire headquarters were, according to the Anne Rice books. Fictional books, I should say. So they get into Rod's car and they head to Florida. It's about a 12-hour drive. They get to Heather's house and pick her up. Rod and Heather went to the nearest cemetery where they chatted. According to Scott, one of his friends, Rod and Heather were discussing how she could leave because her father was assaulting her, or how she needed to leave because her father was assaulting her, and her mother knew about it but didn't do anything about it. And Rod was the person that could help her. Which none of that ever, there was no evidence of that. She never, re-testified to that or anything like that. So November 16th, 1966, eventually Rod and Heather met their friends back at the car and say, "Okay, we're leaving, but the car we have won't make it. So we're going to take Heather's parents' Ford Explorer." And they're like, "Okay, so we'll meet at the meet a quarter of a mile up the road and swap vehicles." And the girls, which included Chastity and her friend Dana with Heather, drove the car about a quarter mile up the road and waited for Scott and Rod to meet them with Heather's parents' car. And another little tidbit, I listened to a couple podcasts, watched a documentary, and read a bunch of articles. Only one podcast mentioned that Chastity claimed that she was pregnant with Rod's child.
Oh.
But at the end of the podcast, they claimed that they were looking for evidence on whether or not she was actually pregnant, and nothing. They said that they couldn't find anything.
Possibility, but likely
correct
not.
And that's because Chastity, I guess, was going back and forth on whether or not she wanted to stay with, they were on again, off again.
Right.
And then she finally was like, "Well, I'm gonna settle him down and get pregnant." She's 15, and because she didn't like how he was always doing drugs and this and that, and she's like, "Well, if I get pregnant, he'll settle down." Girl, that is not how it works.
Look at Rod's dad. He left and joined the army.
So, anyways, that was just a little tidbit. So Rod and Scott went to Heather's parents' house, and they snuck into the garage. to get the keys to the Ford Explorer. Rod rummaged through the garage until he found a crowbar. And he and Scott entered through the utility room door. The house was quiet. Jennifer's dad had fallen asleep watching TV. So Scott goes through the house looking for money or for things that they could use for money and the car keys. And then Scott looks over and sees Rod standing over the dad with the crowbar.
Oh.
And Rod just started beating him. Scott yelled out, "What are you doing?" And Rod replies, "Don't just stand there, look for the keys and the money." So Scott thought, oh, shoot, if I don't listen to him, he's going to do what he's doing to the dad.
Right.
Suddenly, Ruth, the mom, shows up in the kitchen where the
Uh-oh.
two boys were. She was holding a hot cup of coffee and said, "Who are you and what do you want?" Then she threw the cup of coffee at Rod, which scratched Rod's face and obviously burned him a little bit. Rod started beating her with the crowbar. According to Scott, what he did to Ruth was shell shock. Scott was shell shocked when it happened. Scott said he went into flight mode and went as far away as possible wanted to get far away from what just happened.
Right.
They got in the car and met up with the girls. They swapped license plates on a dirt road and abandoned the original vehicle. They finally arrived in Baton Rouge when finally Rod told all three of the girls what happened. And Heather was screaming and wigging out like, "Why did you kill my parents?" Scott claimed after what he did, Rod, was like happy and giddy. Like before he was like very serious and like mad and mumbling, and now he's just like
In a good mood.
So, back in Florida, Jennifer, the older sister of Heather, was already past her curfew, so she sneaks past her dad. That when she sees him on the couch, she just sees his feet propped up on the couch, arm couch, the arm of the couch, and she's like, "Oh, phew, he fell asleep. I'm just gonna, sneak to my room." But then she goes into the kitchen and sees blood like literally everywhere. So she grabs the phone and calls 911 and tells them that she needs help. Her parents have been killed. After a line of questioning and obviously the police on the way, the operator asked her, "No one else is in the house with you, is there?" And she was like, "Oh my gosh, my sister isn't here. My sister's 15. Her name is Heather. She isn't here. She is missing."
Right.
So the police initially started this search for she could have been murdered also, or she was kidnapped. The police arrived at the scene and they were able to determine that the blows to the dad, Richard Wendorf, didn't know that the murderer was approaching and he was struck in his sleep because the blood was isolated to one spot.
Okay.
The murder of Naomi was much different. There was blood all over the kitchen and signs of defense wounds. And there were even pieces of skull in the other room.
Oh, no.
I know. The news of the murder was shocking, obviously, and the investigators were basically sitting ducks until they found the vehicle with the matching license plates of the Ford Explorer deserted on the dirt road. But it wasn't the Ford Explorer, it was the other
cars
car.
that got swapped, right.
So they realized that they most likely swapped the plates. So they put an APB out on the Kentucky license plate. The group was tired and hungry with zero money, so they let Charity call her mom because her mom would more likely send her funds. She's like, "I know, honey, you ran away, but let me send you some money." And then the grandmother got the phone number that came from the payphone in Baton Rouge. Grandma, I'm talking about Charity's grandma.
Okay.
Grandma, with the instructions of the detectives, tell her to go to the nearest Howard Johnson, which is a money transfer place, which detectives were there ready to arrest the group. The second the car turned off, the group was surrounded by cop cars. So Rod eventually got the death penalty after he was arrested.
Good.
But because of his age, it was reduced to a life sentence.
Yeah, he's like 500, right?
Yeah. Scott pleaded guilty and got a life sentence. Charity got 10 years and Dana got 17 years. Both women are out now and living a very quiet life. Heather didn't have to serve a second of time at all. She is now considered an artist and stays quiet. And the mom has come out recently, like I think it was like in 2019, and she was like, I'm a changed woman, like I'm not the same person as I used to be, because I guess she got Rod's mom. Yeah, she got a lot of heat for the way she acted. And there's so much more information.
Of course she did, like everybody's gonna, but
yeah. Brie, there's so much more like other information. I was like, wow,
that's crazy.
Very fascinating.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, it's not every day like a vampire.
Yeah, a 16-year-old vampire tries to start a cult. Sorry,
Also,
excuse me, 500-year-old vampire.
Why didn't they just fly?
Because it doesn't happen on demand.
Oh, you're right.
And they can't handle the power.
I can't fly today. It's too rainy.
Who are you?
Who is it? That was good.
Thank
you. That was really good.
Yeah, I had fun with it.
Oh, I love some vampire stuff.
Love it. There was one podcast that I listened to, and they went like deep into like all of the vampirism of it. And I was like, they were like talking about all these different things that they did and rituals, and I was just like, I don't care about that.
You're like, I just need to know about the murder.
Yeah.
I just need to know what kind of person this guy was.
Yeah. Anyways, so do you have a neighborhood story for me?
Yes. For once I do. Hang on. And I put it in my story so I wouldn't lose it.
Good job, Bree.
Okay, but I need to pull it close because I need to read it up close. Hello. Okay. Okay, so there's a picture, and it is dried spilled soup.
Okay, I can see that. Speaking of soup.
And there's a sign that says, do not leave your beans here. Please clean up after yourself. Shame on you. So, someone else put a note after that was left. And it says, it is I, the soup spiller. I'll never clean up my mess, nor will I stop. Every 2 weeks, I'll spill more soup. You've been warned. P.S. This is super exciting.
Oh my gosh.
And then there's more.
Oh my gosh.
Come on. I just wish it was closer. Okay, it says, Dear soup spiller, I don't know who you are, why you're doing this, but I will find you. Your reign of terror for too long has tormented the good people of blank. I swear on this spilled soup that I will get you. My vendetta is inevitable and impossible.
Oh no.
Your ass is mine, bitch. Guardians of the stairwell. And then
there's more?
There's one more note, and it says, to whoever spilled the beans, fuck you.
Oh my
Sorry
gosh.
for my language. I would play with that too.
Oh, absolutely.
I would have so much fun with it. I would totally get a Liam Neeson meme from Taken, and I don't know who you are, but I will find you. I have a specific set of skills. I have a mop. I can clean this up every time, every day.
Just ask Rod Farrell.
Yeah, he probably knows all
Whoever
about.
you are, I will find you. I will hunt you. I have a specific set of skills. A mop.
The soup spiller.
The soup spiller. This is super.
Super exciting.
Super.
Yeah, I thought that was funny.
Thank you for sharing that. That was funny.
Thank you for sharing your story, buddy.
You're welcome.
It's a great one.
So we're pretty cool. So
yeah, you guys should follow us and stuff, and
at WWTN Podcast, and send us your stories.
Sorry.
What? You're doing good.
Yeah, guys, please send us your stories because we really want to do a listener story soon. Anything paranormal, true crime, neighborhood, if you have had something happen in your neighborhood or had something happen in your town, if your cousin was like kidnapped, we want to know. If you think you saw a UFO, we want to know. Like, come on, guys,
Or
send in
did your
those stories.
uncle see a Sasquatch?
Yeah, or like, does your neighbors set off fireworks in the summertime when it's bright out? Did
Brie,
you
you
like
can't write
when...
into the story, the podcast.
Never mind.
But if your neighbor is like terrible, we want to hear about your
Or
terrible
if they're
neighborhoods.
great.
Or yeah, maybe you
Yeah.
want to write maybe
Sometimes, you know,
something
we like
sweet about them.
learning good things about
Like,
people.
my neighbors are so wonderful. They ask me.
My favorite soup boy.
Yeah, they ask me if I need anything from the store before they go when it's a snowstorm. That's true story. My neighbors do that.
You do that. Amy does that in our neighborhood. She's so sweet.
Thank you.
So yeah, that's send those to wwtnpodcast@gmail.com, or if you want to, send them in Facebook Messenger if it's easier. So, or any messenger. I don't care because I'm usually the one to read those, so it's cool.
Yeah, I don't do any.
I
of the
don't
work.
mind.
I just show up with my pretty voice.
As of right now, we don't care.
Have you checked in on the neighbors?
What's with the neighbors?
Bring
Amy out.
What's with the neighbors? I remembered this time. I remembered.
Like last week was the first week you ever forgot. Usually I'm the one who forgets stuff like
I
that.
know. Say hi to your cats to us.
Meow.
Say hi, cats. Say hi to your cats for us.
Meow.
And also, shout out to Julie.
Yeah, what up, Julie?
What up, Julie? This is a rap about Julie.
Orange Julie.